Radio transmission initiated.
Bravo 2 to command, permission to launch.
Permission granted.
Bravo 2 to Delta 5, permissions granted. That is a direct order. Do it now.
Copy that, Bravo 2. We're engaged.
You are now listening to a Team Player podcast at TeamPlayerGaming.com.
All right, welcome everybody to another Team Players podcast for January of 2013. Happy New Year, everyone! Since by the time this is coming out, we're going to be a good, 20 days into the first year. I feel like Happy New Year's is out the window by the end of the first month.
Yeah, but technically the one-on-one that you did earlier in the month was the first podcast of the year, so you already
this is the first full-length podcast where you get to hear more than just my pretty voice with someone. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, we get Dre's sexy voice in here. But again, welcome. We have some interesting people here to talk with. First, obviously, my main man Dre is with us.
Yo.
And then also we have Mr. Idun.
Hola.
And Rob.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Or BLAMEROB. I don't know. What do you go by now, Rob? It's all
I blame
Rob. It's always Rob.
I know, but you have your BLAMEROB videos, and I'm like, what do I call? I'm still gonna call him Rob.
You know what's funny? I wasn't gonna mention it, but I guess it's kind of on topic and kind of interesting. When we first did the channel, I had a friend that came up with a pretty good commercial for BLAMEROB. Like, if you just imagine a commercial, there'd be all kinds of people that say things like, I blame Rob in my sleep, or I blame Rob when I shower, or I blame Rob when I come home from work, or all kinds of shit. All it means is they go check out the channel. I thought it was kind of neat.
That's pretty good. But so welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us on this late recording time we got going on today. But so we have some pretty interesting stuff to talk about. Obviously, we'll have our usual banter at the beginning here, but we've got plans. We got a Counter-Strike Global Offensive Tournament coming up here pretty soon. We have new servers, with new games, and lots of fun stuff to talk about. But first, we have to go with, what are you drinking?
What are you drinking? What are you drinking?
And
No,
anyway.
you don't have to do it. I've got it, and Walker's going to replay it again and again and again until I feel embarrassed as fuck. What are you drinking?
Anyway, started off, I am drinking a lovely iced tea. This is becoming pretty habitual. Then again, this was at least the third podcast I've recorded while at my parents'. So, anyway, iced tea, delicious.
It's alright, soon you'll become a man. It's fine.
I had scotch the other once. I mean, but since you're talking, Dre, what are you drinking?
I am currently drinking a Coors Light, and I have a Miller Lite on reserve.
Classy.
That's what we buy.
Classy.
Because it's cheap. But
Hey.
I had a cigar earlier, and I was drinking some Dos Equis, and
Nice.
And that comes to mind.
Nice. Sounds like a pretty good evening.
It's a good night. It's a good night.
So, what about you, Don? You drinking anything over there?
Yeah, I was drinking some regular Budweiser a little bit earlier, but I've recently upgraded to a bottle of Newcastle.
Very nice. Very
Nice dark brown ale.
Mm-hmm.
Goes good with Oreos.
I might have to try that. That actually sounds pretty good.
It is. It
Yes.
is.
Nice. And what about you, Rob? You drink anything?
I am drinking my own blood because I had a bloody nose earlier today,
Oh.
and it's kind of draining backwards the wrong way. So I'm drinking that and a little bit of water. I'm also drinking the blood of my enemies right now.
Wow.
How did you end up with this bloody nose?
It was too dry in my place. Actually, I was going to come up with some witty comment like, oh, I got in a fight last night. This one
No.
guy was hitting on my girl, and I was like, dude, no. And then he just straight up popped me in the face. But not before I took out like 5 of his boys.
Yeah. I would have definitely
Rob,
made up something.
Everyone knows you don't have a girl. Come on.
Oh. Come on
I'm
now.
just kidding. Rob's probably got some like fine ass, like
Need some ice
hot
cream.
as a hell girl out there in Cali.
I'll
You
say
know.
I've had mixed variety, but I do have a baseline I have a baseline requirement. I'll say that.
Hey.
I would have at least admitted to like opening up the bathroom door and hitting myself in the face before I said it was too dry.
All right. Well, so we play video games. I guess
Yeah,
we
we
should
do.
talk about that instead of other stuff.
Unfortunately, too much.
So, Dre, I mean,
Oh,
we had a lot. There's lots of Steam sales over Christmas and whatnot. And what do
Gotta
you play?
start with me.
I can start. I mean,
Yeah, you did. No, you started with me. Yeah.
go.
All right.
Put you on the spot.
So I got the Humble Bundle, came out with the Humble Bundle 7, which is right after the THQ Humble Bundle that we talked about last podcast. And it's full of a bunch of really cool games and fun shit that you should play, obviously. But the Steam sale, as far as Steam sales go, I didn't really buy much. And it pisses me off today on Steam, and I'm fine with it because I paid the same amount. Spec Ops: The Line came on 75% off Steam sale this week as the it's like the midweek madness sale, and I'm like, fuck. But I paid $7 for the 2 copies that I paid. I paid $7 for each copy because Amazon fucked me over and decided that I hit the back button at the wrong time and paid for 2 copies instead of 1. And but that's what I've been playing. And if you know me as Abby, I know you know me. When it comes to Christmas time and my birthday, I'm usually kind of secluded and I play single player games all the fucking time. And I'm never usually around. But I have been playing Spec Ops: The Line a lot. And honestly, if you look at the 2012 Game Awards thread that's out there right now, that is my most surprising game of all time because it was just amazing. Wow, I was blown away by it.
Nice.
So that's what I've been playing.
Hey, sounds good. What about you, Dunn? Playing anything interesting these days?
The only Steam sale that I got was Chivalry, which was requested. A couple of friends I work with actually got into it and got me into it.
Yeah,
And,
I don't like playing you in that. You're mean.
No, if we weren't going to talk about it later, I'd be asking so many questions.
Yeah,
we'll get into
we'll
it.
get into
I
Chivalry
have
a
no
little bit
idea
later.
what this game's about.
I did buy Age of Empires 3 because I had a little itch, but
Nice.
I maybe played 30 minutes and I was fed up. And then back to Counter-Strike.
That sounds like me buying an RTS game.
Yeah, it was too complex for me. Let's just say that. I like the regular Age of Empires better.
Dude, there's nothing like a Warcraft quote-unquote game versus a World of Warcraft game that makes you feel good.
No, a game that makes me feel more dumb than I already am. I don't want anything to do with it.
But nice. What about you, Rob? Playing anything?
So I'm one of those people that ends up buying a whole bunch of stuff whenever these sales come around. Like, I don't buy anything until these sales come around.
Straight.
So I bought a bunch of games, but I'm only going to name a few because that's all I can find on my library list right now that I recognize from the sales. So I got Dead Pixels. I got Defender's Quest, which is awesome. I'll talk a little bit about that. I got Fortune Summoners. I got Home, Natural Selection 2, which I'll talk about later. Snapshot, Torchlight 2, and Towns. So
Snapshot was a weird fucking game.
it's different. It's definitely different. It plays a lot like
It's interesting.
It is interesting. I want to say
You
it's
have a
very similar
comparison
to
to it?
Max and the Magic Marker. So I also buy kiddie
Okay.
games because I have younger brothers. So I buy kiddie games like that I think are
I
kind
can
of
see the
interesting.
comparison there. It
A
came
little
with a
similar.
humble bundle. It was weird. It's not like any game I've ever played. And when
No.
you read my VUL, I state the idea that it's it's like one of those movies that you watch when somebody from the future comes back to medieval times and they have a camera, and it's like, I steal your soul with this camera. It's kind of that same idea, but it's with objects instead of people.
I totally did not even think of that, but yeah, it's kind of like that. The two that I do want to talk about though are Defender's Quest, which is a tower defense game, but it's an RPG-like tower defense game. So instead of mechanical towers or brick and mortar towers, your towers are represented by people, like soldiers or archers. It's really cool. It's only a couple bucks. It's like a low graphics, pixelated game, but the concept I thought was really cool. You can level your towers from game to game.
Tower defense?
Yeah, it's like a full tower defense.
Okay,
it doesn't have all the aspects of of a tower defense, but it is a tower defense game at its core. I encourage people to check it out.
It's a over-the-top kind of camera tower defense. It's not like a third person or first person.
Correct. It's not like a what's that one game? I want to say Solarium. That's not it. Sanctum? Is that what it is?
Yeah, the
first-person shooter one. It's
not
not like that. It is a true your typical like StarCraft or Warcraft TD.
Like
yeah. So then I just want to quickly mention that one. I encourage people to check that out. And then I've also been playing Legend of Fae because I like puzzle games. And that also is like, it's kind of like Puzzle Fighter or any of those other, you combine 3 or 4 in a row type games. But it also has an RPG battle element to it. It is like Puzzle Quest, yeah. And I recommend that game as well. But just want to recommend those two because I kind of play obscure games from time to time. So
I wish I could buy all those games, man. I got diapers to feed.
Dude, they're like, well, look, I'm just gonna say they're like $2. They're like $2 or $3 here and there, and I guess I save up for it because I'm.
Hey, and that's not on your phone.
That's all. Those are the only things I buy. I rarely buy like the full price games. I totally feel your pain. Done is what I'm saying.
Nice. I guess I can talk about. I've actually been playing more than just Counter-Strike.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Get out of here.
No way.
Yeah, no, I mean, Dunn knows. I picked up Chivalry when it was on sale because I was
That's
like,
cute.
well, we have a server. I might as well, it's $12. Picked it up. It's all right.
I have so many questions about that game, but
we'll get into it
later.
So playing that, I actually had 2, not on the same day. It seriously felt like within 5 minutes, and it might have been. I had 2 of my real life friends give me beta to Dota 2 because I think a whole bunch of people got extras at one point.
A lot of people are playing that game.
So
yeah, I have like 6 keys. If anybody listening wants one, let me know.
Yeah.
I probably should get one because I think everyone in my friends list assumes that I play that game for some reason.
I'm gonna send you one right now just because I'm sick of looking at the ones that I have.
You should.
so I got that and I've checked it out a little bit. I know Wish Bear's been trying to get me to play, so I played with him some. I'm absolutely terrible at it. But
I don't know I know we weren't planning to talk about Dota 2, but I played a lot of Dota 1 back in the day, and I've been playing League of Legends. I don't know if we want to talk a little bit about Dota, but I'm volunteering the topic or subject.
If we have time, we'll talk about it. Sure.
I will say I've been playing more Dota 2 than anything else lately. So if we want to talk about it, let's do it.
I mean, we can. It's just a game we've been playing. People like it. So Dota 2. What do you think? We can talk about it now. I can say from a new person's perspective, I never played the original Dota. It's pretty interesting. I like the aspect of it. It's
so is the original Dota on sale with Dota 2?
No, the original Dota is a mod of Warcraft 3.
Right.
And
okay. So
Dota 2 is just a standalone. League of Legends is like the same gameplay.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right. If I'm right, Rob.
You are right. They are called MOBAs, multiplayer online battle arenas.
It was kind of like a dungeon crawler for me.
Yeah, something like that.
It was kind of a Diablo-esque game.
It kind of is. It's that top-down. Think of like Warcraft 3, and you know how they have the hero system? This is where it all came from. Right?
Oh, okay.
So the Warcraft 3 introduced the hero system. Well, actually, I don't know if they introduced it, but they were one of the
They were the
big companies.
biggest versions of it, for
Yeah,
sure.
so they have the hero system, right? And then in a typical RTS, you have to control your hero as well as the rest of your army. But I think a lot of people didn't like that, so they were like, you know what, I just want to control my hero. So then they created these battle arenas where you just have to control your hero, basically. And it's you and these other guys on the same team versus the other team. And I think that's where MOBAs came from, kind of, sort of.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
believe
remember
so.
playing Warcraft 3 and playing the multiplayer gayness that it was, because I never got into the RTS multiplayer stuff because it was all about how fast you could do whatever it was that you do, and it was all about hotkeys and all that bullshit. But the idea of the heroes kind of caught me for a second, and I was like, that would be kind of cool to see what I could do with a hero in another game. And that kind of spawned my recreation of Dungeon Defenders and that kind of RPG elemental kind of hero game.
You know what
So,
I will? Done.
is-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dre.
It's a good jump from one to the other, for sure.
The first
That's
time I
what I
saw Dunn play Dota 2 on my Steam's friend list, I was like, oh my god, I did not think Dunn would be the type of person to play that game and like
For
it.
sure.
Realistically, like I come from a first-person shooter. That's it. Dota
Exactly.
2 is like the only game I play outside of that realm.
That sounds
exactly.
about right. That's exactly what I would
In
assume.
my 15 minutes of Age of Empires, that's it.
So I'm curious to know why you like Dota 2.
See, back, early 2000s,
Who knows?
before Source was around, I played Counter-Strike 1.6 with a lot of my friends, and they actually played Dota 2 or Dota 1 and got me into that way. And even to this day, I mean, I've been playing Dota for about 10 years now. From Dota 1 to Heroes of New Earth, which was the original replica of Dota, and then Dota 2, it's all the same game. And so I've been playing for about 10 years, and I still think I suck. Like, it's such a hard game, but it is very fun once you get the hang of it.
So is it a connection as far as I play Dota 1, so I feel obligated to play Dota 2? Or is it that you just caught on to it and you just played it and you enjoyed it? Now you have it.
It's a mixture of both, really. I like Dota 2 because I played Dota 1. So, I just feel obligated to play just because I'm hooked on it.
Right.
You know what's funny is I played a lot of Dota 1 as well, and when I got to Dota 2, this was earlier. I actually didn't like Dota 2 at the onset. It didn't. I think it's because when I went in to play Dota 2, I wanted to see aspects. I wanted to get the same feel that I got from Dota 1, like that Warcraft 3. Even the graphics were kind of different, too different for me. And like, I don't know, maybe it's been too long since I played Dota, and then when I played Dota 2, I just didn't like it. But I don't know what it was. I just didn't like it as much. I like League now better, but that's just me.
See, I liked Heroes of New Earth, and when I started playing Dota 2, I didn't like it either at first. It just felt like the mechanics were off. I couldn't last hit properly. The graphics were really nice, but I just felt the gameplay was too slow for me. But now that I've been playing it for a while, I've adapted, and I actually like it 10 times better than what I did in Heroes of New Earth. And I know a few people that are kind of in the same boat too, that they didn't like Dota 2 at first, but once they got used to it, they actually appreciated it and continue to play it.
I'm sure I could be in that boat too. I think I just need to put a little bit more time into it.
It takes a little commitment, but
yeah. I can tell you, I know we're not talking about League of Legends and stuff, but just I want to throw this little thing in here. The reason I like League of Legends also is because when League of Legends came out, a lot of their champions were very vanilla and they recycled a lot of skills. But now that Riot's kind of become this huge, ginormous company, their champions are getting more interesting and more unique. And a lot of the skills that they throw out there are actually kind of interesting, like especially the skill shots in League of Legends. That's one of the things that Dota doesn't have that I kind of like in League of Legends are these things called skill shots where you kind of have to aim where you're firing your projectile. And I don't think they really have too many of those in Dota 2. Like, I know the Earthshaker has his, like, that one... No, wait, actually, I don't even know if he still has it. He does. He has that thing where he, like, makes a wall, right? It does damage. It makes a wall. Yeah, so I guess they do have a few skill shots in that game, but maybe not as many.
They have quite a few. I can't name any off the top of my head, but there are quite a few.
Well, Yeah, there's a lot of what the hell you call it, MOABs. I've already forgotten.
MOBAs.
Yeah. So because there's is Heroes of Newerth still a thing? I remember that came out.
It used to be.
Or did
It was really big because it was really the only game that was an exact replica of Dota. I mean, that's really what it is. Just everything was named differently. And it was, I think, $30 to play it. But then League of Legends was pretty much its rival. And League of Legends was free to play, so most people played League of Legends. And then Heroes of Newerth eventually went free to play pretty much about the same time as Dota 2 beta came out, and most of the players went to Dota 2.
Yeah. So, yeah, if people are interested, obviously there's quite a few TPGers with excessive Dota 2 passes, so I'm sure if you post it on the forums, you can find someone to give you one. Check it out. I find it's kind of fun. I might stick with it a little bit. See if I can get into it more. But so there's that. Well, I think we'll go ahead and take our first break here real quick, and then come back and talk about the new servers that we have for TPG. Welcome back, everyone. Exciting news. I think we've had now for a while, especially by the time this comes out. But there are new servers that we have. We have our own Daisy server. I'm not sure how long we've had that, but we have that. We have a Natural Selection 2 server, and we have a Chivalry server. Yay! There was much rejoicing. So. If you don't have
I was gonna rejoice when you said Natural Selection 2. I was gonna go murder. You must be an alien and murder them. Because it's hella fun to be an alien.
I know nothing about the game, so since you brought it up, we'll talk about Natural Selection 2 first. Rob, you are our resident as in the only person here, I think, who's actually played it. I'm not sure if Don has.
I've been playing a lot of it.
I have not.
So much of it. It's crazy. And what's funny is I wasn't going to play it at first, but then some of my friends got it and my brothers wanted it, so I was like, alright, I'll play, and now I can't stop. And I'm actually surprised a part of me is surprised that a lot of other TPGers aren't playing it, because it's very much so a team player based game and requires so much teamwork, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But I mean, it's a first person shooter, it's an RTS, it's got all kinds of really neat aspects to it, so hopefully this podcast will get more people playing, especially now that TPG has its own server. I think the only people I recognized when I hopped in the server was myself and Frag Raptor, and I don't see Frag Raptor in much of anything else. I think I saw him in Left 4 Dead and maybe Counter-Strike once. So if there's any other TPGers out there that play, just let me know, or if you have any questions about the game, I'm happy to answer it or show you the ropes or whatever. But Avatar, do you want me to go over just a quick summary and then
talk
about the game a little bit?
What is Natural Selection 2? I have no idea. All I know is that we have a server for it now.
Okay, so just to give a little bit of context, Natural Selection came from, I believe, the Half-Life mod, and it's basically what the game is. It's aliens versus Marines, and the whole kind of unique twist about this game is that it's an RTS and an FPS at the same time. And how do they do that? Well, the leaders of each of the teams play it as an RTS. So you're the one building all the buildings, you're the one researching all the upgrades, unlocking technologies, unlocking evolutions, things like that. But then think about how an RTS plays, and think about StarCraft or Warcraft and how you have to command your units and tell them where to go. Well, the FPS aspect comes from the fact that you don't have to command your units, because the units are players, they're actual people. So those players are playing it from a first-person shooter point of view. And so usually the team sizes are about 10 versus 10 in a regular public server. I think competitive is 8v8, and then I think TPG has a 12v12, so I think we have 24 max. And basically, think about an RTS and like how instead of it being like this grand, huge scale of like mass 50 on 50 in an outdoor setting, it's really more of a 10v10 in like these indoor hallway room type settings, if that makes sense. And so, it's basically what you basically do when you start the game is you're really just trying to get resources, and then you get resources, and with the resources you can buy upgrades, buy weapons, buy higher evolutions, and then the end goal is to destroy all of the enemy's bases, because you have these things called command centers and hives, and as soon as you destroy all the enemy command centers or all the enemy hives, your team wins the game. And that's,
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty much natural selection. And I don't know if that
Hey,
kind of covers it for you guys.
Did you play shit? What's the name of the other RTS or FPS we played? Nuclear Dawn. Did you play Nuclear
I've
Dawn?
never even heard of it.
Well, I was hoping you could compare the two between Nuclear Dawn and Natural Selection.
Yeah, I've never played either of those games, so.
Okay, because I know there was a connection there.
Talk a little about the. I can kind of give a quick analysis of how the gameplay kind of goes in a typical pub, especially for new players. Like,
go ahead. Sorry, I was about to talk earlier before Dre, and I realized my mic was muted. I'm like, crap, and then Dre starts talking.
For a couple notes down.
Finally, geez.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. But what's a normal game like?
So in a normal game, if I had to pick one sentence to describe it, the aliens usually win, and the reason for that is because in order to be a Marine, for the Marines to win, they require much more skill and much more teamwork. And there's two primary reasons for that. The first one is that the aliens are really small and they're really fast. And so in a typical first-person shooter player, it's really difficult to hit that really fast-moving alien, especially when they can climb walls and their like movement is very vertical and diagonal, as opposed to Counter-Strike where it's like super horizontal. If I had to give a comparison, I'd say it's a lot more like TF2 as opposed to Counter-Strike, but even more so. It's really crazy. It's like Left 4 Dead and TF2 combined.
So is it more like the aliens in the Alien games?
Yes.
Like when they were climbing the walls and stuff like that? And
the walls, they hide, they have these little events they can do. It's really crazy. And so basically, like, if you're a Marine, it's really tough to go into a dark hallway by yourself and take on an enemy alien if he's hiding in there or if he's coming to attack you, because it's just so hard to hit those little guys. Even myself, like I struggle with it, and I can't win my 1v1 fights as a Marine all the time, but I try the best I can. But I guess, like I said, the basic analysis is it's so easy to be an alien if there's no teamwork. The other reason for that is because the Marines are kind of weak in close range. The aliens, all of them are basically melee fighters. So as soon as they close the gap, it's basically game over for the Marines. So what does that mean? That means that the Marines have to kind of stick together and go in groups, as opposed to the aliens, where the aliens can kind of just run around the map solo and still do a really good job and help to contribute to their team, because they're afforded the luxury of going solo, and they're afforded the luxury of being an effective combatant, even though they don't have their team to back them up, because they're so fast, because they're so mobile, because they can hide and climb walls and all kinds of stuff. So if you're just starting out, I recommend you play Marines first, so you get an idea of how the game works and you can experience the pain of being a Marine, and then switch over to Alien and just decimate all the Marines. And that'll help you learn the game.
Well, that sounds like a pretty interesting game.
Yes. To most people would assume.
I guess I could talk about a little bit about what the end game looks like. Because after you get a couple of bases and after you build up your resources, the Marines eventually get things called exos. They're kind of like little mech warriors.
Mm-hmm.
You can also buy these tank things that are called arcs, and they're basically like mobile artillery. And once you get those, it's usually pretty much game over. And then for the aliens, they build these like huge rhinoceros elephant things called Odos. And when 5 of those things rush your base, you're pretty much dead. So it's pretty fun. It's
Cool.
it's pretty exciting.
Sounds like a pretty cool game to me. So
This is exciting.
so I might have.
So would first-person shooter people like me coming from Counter-Strike or BF2 or whatever, would I fit in playing natural selection?
Yeah, you would fit in.
Being a first-person shooter, I wouldn't have to worry about the RTS aspect of it.
So I played with a couple of the people from TPG, and it seems like if you come from a first-person shooter, you want to play as a Marine first, because that's what you're familiar with. And then once you play, you'll start to understand the game and be like, oh, okay, I can't go into a room by myself because these folks are going to be waiting for me. Or, okay, it's safer to go in a group. Or I should build this thing first because it's going to give me more. It's going to give my commander more resources, and then my commander can give me more upgrades and stuff. And your commander is the one that has to unlock all the other weapons, like the shotguns, the flamethrower, the grenade launcher, those exosuits. And then once you start to understand that, and you'll start to think about how you can help your commander even more, because you'll start to think about like map positioning and map control, and like, okay, if I take this room, I'll be able to get this base, we'll get this resource up, and then we'll be able to get more items and goodies, and that'll help me push better and be more successful. And you know, the thing I like about natural selection too is it really truly is a team game, because it's not like Strike where a single star can like totally face stomp in a pub just by opting single trade, or you know, whatever example you want to throw out there.
Right.
And the best players in natural selection can't fight off like 2 or 3 players by themselves. It just that's how much of a threat each player could pose, as long as they're decent, of course.
So, did you play? Like, are the maps? As far as the maps go, I mean, I know when I start off with RPG or RTS FPSs, I start off with Battle Zone 2, and they had pretty good map sizes for the amount of players they had, and they had plenty of objectives.
There you go. You got
Sorry. Shut up.
It must be that Coors Light.
It must be.
It's really hitting them, man.
It's hitting me. It's bad. And do you ever feel that the maps are too congested, or that
too small? So for a typical 10, the maps are big enough, and they're all actually about the same size. And it's not because the map is big; it's because the Marines move so slow. Because the Marine foot soldier, the regular soldier, is so incredibly slow. Even when you're sprinting, it's like barely any difference. And the aliens are so fast, and they need that because the Marines. Okay, so I'm kind of getting into a little bit of the strategy here, but basically, as the Marines are slow, they're given a building called a phase gate, which it's basically like a portal, right? You can teleport from portal to portal, and that's how the Marines get around. And then the way the aliens get around is by just moving, because they're just so incredibly fast. And they have other enhancements or evolutions that allow them to be even faster. So no, the map doesn't feel small. In fact, if anything, it feels larger than it should, because getting from room to room as a Marine is so tough when you're playing in a pub, because like I mentioned earlier, it's just so easy to be an alien and to just be a threat and to mow down, or actually not mow down, but just like take out so many Marines, even by yourself or with a small group, because as a Marine, it's just too hard to shoot those aliens. So every room that you claim, that you advance to and claim and make your own and make a base into, is so much progress in my mind. So no, the map doesn't feel small.
Is that based on just as far as class goes? Because what I read of the gameplay when I watched some of the tutorial videos when we got it, because I didn't know anything about the game, and I saw that
the ones that are
Marines are like DoD based, they're point to point base, and the aliens are more of like
out like Zerg. It's
Yeah,
just like
kind of like the Zerg from StarCraft. Yeah,
like that because they basically have a creep just like the Zerg do in Star.
yeah. They
So-
have a bubble map.
Difference in the game between the two teams, and this is another reason why it's so much easier to be alien. The Marine commander requires his Marine soldiers, his Marine players, to help him build his buildings. He can't build it by himself until he gets this thing later where he can build little robots that help him build. But in the very beginning of the game, your Marines are basically your lifeline, and they're the ones that are taking those rooms, winning the fights, and building the buildings. You can't do anything without them.
But you play it basically like an FPS, so there's kind of a learning curve disability to the Marines.
Exactly, and this is why the
Or
Marines.
to the other side, I would say, because it's easier to play Marines as it is to play the infected. I'm gonna say that's a general term.
The aliens are so much easier to play because the alien commander doesn't need that. The alien commander can just build on his own. He can spread his creep by himself. That's how he has to do it. Is he has to spread his creep from his main base and then builds everything by himself. As soon as the creep touches one of those extractor points, he can just build his little harvester on it and start taking resources. He doesn't need any help from the aliens whatsoever. And so the aliens, what that allows the aliens to do is it frees up their responsibility, and all they have to focus on is basically killing the other team. So it becomes so much easier because now exactly they just focus on killing the other team as opposed
So
to
it's more commander based
and
player based as far as the
exactly.
Well, sounds like a pretty interesting concept to me. I mean, I know
alien commander doesn't have to worry about the aliens defending points as much as the Marines do. Because the Marines have to defend points to points, or I'm sorry, they have to defend like buildings to buildings, but the Zergs can compile buildings without having the aliens there because they're defending or they're attacking another point and so they don't have to have the defense as well.
Something like that. I can tell you a little bit about how our games have kind of gone in our pub games, because I play with people from the TPG server, and I also play with some of my friends, and my friends really like playing Alien, and basically I think we've got it down to almost the science. Probably not good enough for competitive play, but basically my philosophy is whenever we play Alien, is that, and this is kind of what we kind of do, is one of my friends really loves being the alien commander. And like I said before, if you're the alien commander, you don't really need to communicate with your team. You just kind of build, right? And so my friend is the commander, and then I am sort of the field marshal on the for the alien attackers, and I kind of tell everyone where to go, just like you make calls in Counter-Strike, right? And so basically, if you think about the map, if you look at any of the NS2 maps, the map is heavily divided into rooms, and they have names for all the rooms right on the map. And so my philosophy as Alien is simply to deny the Marines, deny them resources, getting those resource points. And so what we do is we basically use our mobility to our advantage, and we run around primarily as a single group. And because the Marines have to kind of spread out in order to get those resource points, we ambush like groups of Marines and basically slaughter them, kill all the buildings they just built, and then look for another room to attack or another group of Marines to attack and destroy all that stuff in whatever other room we decide to hit. So it's a lot of hit and run tactics, a lot of guerrilla tactics. That's what we do as aliens. And so on the flip side of that, if you're a Marine, your goal early on is to just try to get as many resources as you can, as many rooms as you can, and just defend and hold it. And that sounds so weird because in the tutorial video that I guess the developer made in the Natural Selection 2 game, there's like a tutorial section, and if you click on that, there's a bunch of videos. And I think one of the developers made a video, and he talks about how to command and how to lead the Marines to victory. And one of the things he says is like, this game is focused on being very offensive. You want to be aggressive and attack. And I can see that being true, but on the Marine side, I would also argue that it's important to defend, because you can't overextend as Marines. And as soon as you get enough resource points, I think it's better to defend those resource points as a Marine with phase gates, sentries, whatever you need, as opposed to further trying to overextend. Because like I mentioned earlier, the Marines just move so slow. It takes so much effort to get a Marine from room to room. even with a phase gate, that if you lose a battle in a room, you can't just spawn in and then run back there. If you spawn in and you're trying to phase gate through back to that room, the aliens are already probably trying to destroy the phase gate, and they're all basically eating you as you come through the phase gate, and you automatically die. So what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is that as soon as you lose a room, you basically, as soon as you lose a battle in that room, there's basically no hope of recovering it. It's lost. So that's why as a Marine, it's important to defend what you hold, as opposed to being overly aggressive. The aliens are afforded the luxury of being overly aggressive because they're so fast. I know that was a long explanation, but I just love this game.
You keep catching me when I can't unmute my microphone. Well, as I was trying to say earlier, till Dre cut me off. Sounds like interesting concept. I know there's been games with the whole RPG / FPS mixed together, but sounds like pretty interesting to me. Again, if you think it's interesting, listener, check it out. TPG does have a NS2 server that I see populated pretty highly populated.
For sure, it's definitely populated every time I look at it.
But also, I want to talk about, because I actually play it, would be Chivalry. We also have a Chivalry server.
Freedom.
Which is ridiculously populated. I
watched a video on it and I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is this game? Because it is crazy.
It looks really awesome.
The videos, like I looked at the videos too, and they really don't do us justice.
Oh wow, that blows my mind then.
So Chivalry, we have a server well populated throughout the day. Like, hop on. I know me and Dunn have been playing at like noon, and it's full. Like
within minutes.
Yeah, I mean, priming takes 10 minutes max to get a full server.
Yeah, if it takes 10 minutes to prime, then that's a long time normally.
So
you just suck at it.
It's at least really popular. Good work having our server TPG. But so Chivalry, Dre, you seem so curious about it. Is a first-person medieval warfare.
I heard it's a lot like Skyrim or the like as far as gameplay goes.
But there's no magic involved. Like that's the big difference. Is it's more of a realism based.
It's kind of the melee-esque version of Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls edition of games, as far as that kind of stuff goes. It's just a really beautiful melee FPS game.
Right. I mean, it uses the Unreal Engine, which is a very polished engine.
Yeah.
Granted,
sure.
there hasn't been any updates yet, which there should be within a day or two. And every once in a while, I get stuck on like a pebble somewhere.
So there's a class system, right?
Yeah. There's 4 classes. There's an archer. There's Man-at-Arms, Vanguard, and Knight, right?
Mm-hmm. And how do they, if you could compare that to TF2 or something else that the TPG community would know?
I don't think you really need to compare it to anything. The archer is obviously an archer.
Right.
With a medium movement speed, and you have no armor, and you shoot arrows.
And each class has a special ability too, and the archers, their special ability is backstab.
Yeah. And then
so they have a stealth kind of.
Yeah. And
they're considered the rogues.
Okay.
And then you have your 3 different melee classes of Man-at-Arms, Vanguard, and Knight, and they start from lightest armored and quickest, then middle and Vanguard, and then heaviest armor and slowest soldier.
What?
And strongest, so hardest hitting. And, I mean, Dunn can probably explain better than I can. I haven't put too much time into it. But, go ahead.
Yeah, the Man-at-Arms, they have the dodge ability, which if you double tap any direction, he's going to juke, essentially. Mm-hmm. That's his special ability. Man-at-Arms class is definitely the hardest class to play.
So is he quick?
He's quicker. He's the quickest. However, he's very weak.
So he's kind of like a scout if you were to compare it to TF2.
Yeah, I would compare him closest to the scout in Team Fortress. Yes. You got your Vanguard class, which is probably the easiest to play.
Yeah, because that's what
which he's got a decent amount of armor. He can take a few hits without dying, and he also does some of the most damage.
And he is the greatest. Doesn't Vanguard have the?
So he's your typical soldier, like you're just
right. He would be your soldier, and
if you're
his special ability is
FPS player. That's who you'd want to start off with, kind of player. Right?
Yeah, he's definitely the easiest alongside with the knight. But the Vanguard special ability is charge. Now, if you hold down the run key, which is typical for any character, he does a charge, which he winds back his sword, and when you swing, he basically jumps forward at his opponent and basically strikes anybody in his path. And it's based on a stamina system too. So every time you swing or jump or you can kick in the game too, it takes a little bit of stamina away. And in order to regain your stamina, you just need to not run or swing or do any other attack, and he'll regain his stamina pretty quickly.
So it's kind of a standstill, almost
right? Like
day defeat.
You can run into a team fight swinging, like it's this year's baseball tryouts if you want to, but you're gonna only get a couple swings in before you basically get killed. So any player can really get lucky with a couple of swings, which happens from time to time. But with the block system and you have your overhead strike, you have like your poke, and you have like your normal attack. You can do some pretty wicked combos in there.
And I assume each one of those kind of attacks are different. Like the overhead attack is probably stronger attack than the poke.
Yes, so the overhead attack is going to do your most damage, but it is also the slowest attack.
Right. Yeah.
Now, your poking does minimal damage.
But it's faster, right?
But I can't say minimal. It doesn't do as much damage as the overhead, but it has the furthest reach.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then your normal attack, your side swipe. I don't know if that's I don't know the logistics of what the actual terminology is called, but it's a normal swipe, and that's your basic attack. And you can parry, you can block, and it's a timed block too. Like you only have a split second where you can block, and you have to be looking at their weapon.
So it's very skill based.
It is very skill based, but like I was saying before, like any player can go in there and start swinging away and get some kills.
Well, especially if I've seen the videos where they're in very intense 30-man battles, and you can just kind of go into a war and just swipe away at people who are fighting other people and kill people.
Definitely, like a game like this is something that I've been hoping for since I was a little kid. Just want if you're a fan of Braveheart or Gladiator, then this game's for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely because I look at it as you can have it and play with a lot of skill in the sense of even archer or even as a soldier or man at arms, and have a lot of skill play, or you can just be bad like me and just run away, trying to kill people and dying a lot and just
retreat.
It's pretty brutal too. I mean, you can cut people's heads off. Their limbs, their extremities, their gurgle noises that they make. It's pretty brutal. I mean, the $12 alone, like I was laughing at some of the sounds and graphic.
Hey, every time Dunn shoots me in the face or the neck with his arrow, and I start, and my screen goes gray, and you see me drop to my you watch yourself drop to your knees in the sense of from first person because I never go into the third person.
It's great. It's great. I have a lot of fun.
Killing him.
But so I mean, within it, there's also so each class has different weapons. You have a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary. Which a
what?
Tertiary.
What's the tertiary?
There's so you have bow, crossbow for archer. There's something else. Am I forgetting?
You get a javelin.
Oh, javelin. That's
okay. So it's you get 2 melee and 1.
Well, no
reach weapon
for archer class. There's 3 primary choices initially, and then you can unlock more. So once you get a certain number of kills with the longbow, you can have a short bow, which is awful, by the way. And once you get a certain number of kills with the short bow, and each weapon has a different stamina, how much stamina it takes away, how much damage it deals, its reach.
it's initially like kind of the BF2 kits that you would get for like each class that you have.
A little bit. It does have that
You have
element of where you play.
experience.
But not every bow or weapon that you unlock is going to be better than the next. It's
Yeah.
just different.
Yeah, for sure.
And there'll be different aspects to it. So there's that.
And honestly, I've unlocked everything for every class. And most of the classes, the first weapon that you get is usually the higher damage one, and the most common weapon used.
Well, that would make sense because they'd want the initial
Right.
players to do better. Because if they don't, then they won't play it ever again.
Yeah.
So-
There's definitely that aspect. I mean, it's got you're slashing, you're killing, you're
Apparently glorious killing, because I've seen some of the screenshots that you guys posted, and it's some crazy shit. Definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, pretty interesting. Also, another game people should check out. Unfortunately, I think the sale's over, but if you can find it on sale, definitely pick it up. And even if you can't,
if
it's a
you
lot
can
of fun.
imagine, Counter-Strike as medieval times era, that's pretty much what this game would be.
But
How is is the score system the same? I know we played and we're kind of team player based.
it's
Well, one thing
How's
we didn't
the
really go
team-
over was there are objective-based maps.
All right.
a team.
Which-
TO
Like the
is
PowerPoint?
team objective, right? Dan?
Right, and that's what our server is currently, which also has King of the Hill, which is self-explanatory.
Is the team objective based? I've seen the videos of you breach the castle wall, then your next objective.
There's
Kill the
as
king.
of right now, there's 4 different
Next-
maps, and each
Well-
map's different. You have one where you have to push a cart of dead bodies into a river, and then you have to. And
Do you have
the
the
other
yell out,
team?
bring out your dead as well?
I think so. And you have
Oh,
like
that's
the
nice.
knights who say "knee." No,
Exactly.
but you have to push a cart, and you unlock the next phase if you can do it within the timely manner. If not, then the other
Right.
team wins. And then, if you progress, you have to unlock the floodgates, which is essentially you just stand in an area that, in order for your team to lower these floodgates, and then you are enabled into the next session or section, and then you have to kill the nobles, is what they're called, but they're really like village people or
Are those
or
like
yeah, you have to.
NPCs?
They're hidden inside these little bunkers, and you have to destroy the
Okay.
bunkers and basically slaughter these innocent people,
Oh, that
and
sounds great.
that'll win you the map for that particular game.
Right. And then there's other.
Yeah, as Dunn
you have to
said,
do,
there's
obviously.
there's King of the Hill, self-explanatory, and then there's the 4 team objective maps,
Okay.
and that's what we have. And I mean, so you have your attacking team, your defending team, and you progress through.
So if you're very team oriented, this is a good game for you as far as objectives go.
And actually,
So-
my favorite map, the objective is for the Mason team to kill 40 innocent villagers and burn all the houses.
So
then
you
you
like
have
to kill
to-
innocent people. And
Yeah, I like
For
killing
no-
innocent
for no
people
reason.
in a video game. And then you have to push a battering ram to the front of the castle and knock the castle door down, and then the opposing team has to defend the castle, and one of them is selected the king, and you have to protect the king, and if the king dies, then that's the end of the round. The Masons win.
So a particular player is like condemned, quote unquote, to be the
Right,
king.
exactly. He's the king. If he
I-
dies, it's over.
All right.
I've
Because
played this.
I've
map.
seen that on the videos, and I was interested in.
He
how they
he
do
has. I've never been the king, but he has more health and more armor, so he's a lot harder to kill
So
than a
it's,
normal
it's
player.
basically the VIP of Counter Strike map.
That's what I was
VIP
Exactly.
maps.
Exactly.
That would explain a lot. No, I was playing that map, and I had some idiot being the king, and we lost because of it. But
Sorry,
but-
Because
Go
he
ahead.
went out and fought and died.
yeah, I mean,
Because he wanted to fight and he wasn't being a team player.
right, be a team player.
Bastard.
But so it's a lot of fun. I mean, if I play it, I feel like that says a lot because I don't play a whole lot of new video games.
Avatar's
You don't
picky.
play a lot of
He
games.
complains a
Period.
lot.
Say what, Rob?
I said you're picky and you complain a lot.
I do.
So if you pick up a game,
People
It's
should
gotta be
really,
great.
really try it. right?
seriously consider drop everything you're doing, get on Steam,
Which-
put it on your wish list. You'll be
Which
notified when the game
makes
goes
me
on
want
sale.
to say, if you haven't played Saints Row 3, play it. It is a
Play it.
single-player game that I beat. That
Wow.
should say everything.
Which is amazing.
My brother-
I've
amazing.
never heard of you ever playing a single player game ever. So you beating one is just, it blows
That's right.
my mind.
97%. 97%.
Wow.
And that's beating the storyline and pretty much doing everything except for...
It was the dildo bat, wasn't it?
What the heck?
Yes. There's the dildo bat. That
Dildo bat.
it's GTA, but not serious. It's amazing. Check
It's
it.
fucking-
I don't know if I talked about it last time. I don't think I did.
I think we all, I think last, because it was in the Humble Bundle last time.
Yeah, it was
But-
in the THQ Humble Bundle when I picked that up.
Oh
And
my god.
Definitely the most fun I've had playing a video game in a long time.
It's a Grand Theft Auto making fun of itself
Yes.
kind of game, and it's
Yes.
one
But
of the best kind of Grand Theft Auto clones you'd ever play.
apparently, I can't believe I forgot about this when talking about what I was playing. I was too into Chivalry and Dota 2. Anyway,
Too excited about the podcast.
and I'm just an excitable person. What can I say? So,
how many max players is Chivalry?
32.
32, so it's like 16 on 16.
Yeah, that's most,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of.
And it looks like a really cool game. If people who are listening to this don't really get it, go look at the videos, because I watched it and I wanted to play it from watching the videos, just because I was like, oh shit, I want to cut somebody's head off with this fucking sword. That's awesome.
But
It never gets. It hasn't gotten old to me since.
Yeah,
since I got
it
it.
looks like a really fun game. If you just want to fuck around in a game, it looks like that kind of a game.
Like
But
my
it
first
also
time
looks like
playing
a
it was
cool
with one of my
game.
friends from work. I was in Mumble with him, and he was like, "Hey, Dunn, look at this. Look to your left." And I looked to my left, and he's across the map and throws this javelin across the map and hits me right in the face.
yeah,
I couldn't help but start bust out laughing, and it's pretty much like that every time I play, man. It's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, it
Lots
sounds
of
like
fun.
a lot of fun,
another game everyone should try and check out if they can afford it.
for sure.
And I
And
think
it's on sale, right? For the
I don't think it is anymore. It was.
it might not be.
Yeah, sale just ended.
Yeah,
I saw it the other day. It may not be anymore.
but
Add it to your wish list. You never know when it's going to be a slash deal.
that's exactly.
We may give it to you just for shits and giggles.
It's worth it even at full price.
Yeah, but so we'll go ahead and take a break real quick, and we will finish up talking about the upcoming Counter-Strike Global Offensive Tournament. Welcome back, everybody, to our third part of podcast in January. I don't know what to say here. Obviously, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. We're having our first CSGO tournament here. I think we're starting next month. Being February. I'm not sure. Dunn can correct me on everything.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the start of February.
Okay. So Counter-Strike Global Offensive Tournament. From what I know, we are doing a 5v5 draft tournament like we did for Counter-Strike Source last spring. So, I mean, you want to go ahead and just tell us about it, Dunn?
Yeah, it's going to be our basic tournament, our annual tournament as we seem to have. We're going on, 4 or 5 now?
I'm not sure. I know we've had one the past 2 years. Last year we had 5v5, and the year before we had 3v3.
I didn't pay attention to this stuff, so it just
Yeah,
kind
well,
of
it's good. A lot of people have been feeling the draft style tournament, and I have as well. Basically because you don't have the Cal Pro teams that come in and wipe out tournaments. We have a more even people that don't consider themselves to be an elite player can play in this tournament because they're going to be picked up on a team regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially all the teams are going to be randomized from the draft.
Are you going to be randomizing it, or is it?
No.
Draft
The,
based.
the captains
Okay, so
will
it's
be
pick,
selected,
okay.
and then it'll be whoever the captains are.
And how are you from last year? How are you changing up the? Are you changing anything from last year as far as the way that they choose who's playing, or as far as when they're playing? I know there's a lot of
Not
issue
really.
there.
Really, the biggest issue that I want to do is last year I had basically first come first serve as far as captains went, and it went fairly well for the most part, except for there were one or two teams that their captains weren't as loyal as what they should have been. Because I know there were a select few people like Lego, for example. He had an issue because their team couldn't coordinate anything and get together, and nobody was really taking initiative.
I was on
Oh
that
shit!
team, so
We're naming names. Uh-oh.
It wasn't Lego's
just
fault.
kidding.
It was just
Yeah,
it
I'm
was
just
just a
kidding.
complaint from what he had.
there was
He was more ready than his team was.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was gung ho
Okay.
for it, but a lot of the members on his team weren't, and that was a downfall. That was really the only downfall that I saw throughout the entire tournament.
something
So-
I'd like to say before we get into it. Think of this, because what I noticed too was also skill level of captains is a huge deal. Because you had
And
Luker's team.
A way to
who-
try to prevent that would be selecting the captains not by first come first serve basis, more by selecting the captains of who I think has the most experience in TPG.
Yeah, which I figured you
Which
would
is something
be looking into
definitely
that.
you're doing earlier now.
Yeah, I would counter that by saying I agree with you. But overall, I think the draft was a really great idea, and it helped balance the teams more than it would have if it wasn't a draft.
For sure.
But I would say that I would just want to give a little bit of credit to I actually didn't think. What am I trying to say? I thought Aussie did a good job picking players that were underrated in the last tournament. Like people that weren't as popular maybe on TPG, but actually were really, really good in the tournament. I think he did a pretty good job scouting out some good players. So
I
just
agree.
wanna
I
throw
think
that to you.
from the start of the tournament, every team had like one or two superstars, and the rest were fairly decent.
Exactly. I
And
agree.
they had one or two players that weren't league oriented, but who do we have on our team? We had Dr. Feelgood, who's not the highest skilled player, but he's one of the best team players in the game, and that's really what you need to take into factor while drafting. You can't get all pro players that wants to take the team to the end by themselves. You have to have a well-rounded team.
Yeah, but I really did like the draft style, the evening out the teams. The only thing is, I knew Luker's team was going to win the whole time because it's Luker and he has a lot of experience.
And I will say, I was first round pick on Luker's team.
I would like to say he didn't realize I was playing, or I would have been second pick on his team.
I don't know if you caught my sarcasm in that.
I feel
Whatever. We all know you think you're good.
I actually kind of like.
Shut up.
I don't know if you guys saw it or if people just talked about it, but wasn't there a thread talking about like this person should have been picked ahead of this person, or this person should have this should have been like a first or second round pick, but it was actually a fifth, or maybe I don't know. Was there a thread on TPG for that, or am I just thinking of something else?
I feel like people
There
might have been
definitely
talking-
probably would have been, yeah.
because there were some
okay,
surprise picks.
Yeah.
Which it's draft. It goes like that. You have
Yeah, that's kind of what happened.
Ozzy. We mentioned had some surprise picks. I would say. And
He had really who was it? I think it was
well.
Affinity and someone else that were. It was I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
it's obviously not.
Regardless, that was last year. Not
What
this
we
year.
learned is the draft style worked pretty darn well, though.
I mean, the first week alone, we had 3-4 ties that ended up going into overtime.
Yeah, there were a lot of.
Oh, that's
overtimes.
like-
I mean, that just
I-
goes to show how balanced the draft style actually worked.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I'm hoping it's just as successful this time. Just
would
I
be
hope
great.
the one or two teams that had issues last year, that we can fix that this year by making more reliable captains.
And there's
So-
some new hot players on the servers. Like it's been a while. since I ventured in the Counter-Strike servers, and there are some really good players on there now. Some really good new players.
Mhm.
Like, what's that guy's name? D-Master?
Yep,
What?
D-Master.
D-Master's really good. He's usually
Yeah,
at the
he's
top.
kind of a douche.
Yeah, we don't like you,
I wasn't gonna say anything, but I was just talking from an unbiased skill perspective. He's
Right.
really good.
He
he's
obviously has a lot
good.
of
He's-
experience.
And then
Yeah,
there's
he's
a
a
couple
cool
other
cat.
people. I think Stricken is new. There's a few others that are new faces. And then Kato is new to the servers too. Also, isn't he? He's pretty good. And
Kato's-
Petrichor?
Kato's-
Petrichor's hecka good. Holy crap.
Kato's been around. He just didn't.
Okay.
I mean, like, it's funny to see though how the difference between Source and Go, because like
I think that's gonna be a factor.
it definitely is. It's part of the reason I haven't actually signed
For
up
sure.
for it because
I suck at Go. Can't keep time out with it.
But you see, like some of the people who were some of the top players in Source now just aren't very good because, and then you have the people who were good at Source and then aren't even better compared to everyone else in Go because of how they already played. Meaning those who sprayed and knew the spray patterns, like me, who were good at Source and now can't spray and Go.
No,
I'm still
agree
trying to
with
find
that.
my groove and Go myself.
Yeah.
I agree that the hitboxes are better too, and you have to be more precise because I remember what it felt like in 1.6, and like you actually had to be pretty accurate.
Mhm.
And then when I went to Source, it was like, oh my god, I can hit everything. I'm amazing. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I suddenly became awesome overnight.
I do enjoy going from Go to Source because I go from being meh to like godlike. I feel
and then you go to Go and you're like, oh yeah, I actually have to hit people and try and practice my Twitch shot and aim and all this other garbage to like make sure I actually end up with an even KDR.
like.
So
But anyway, more about the tournament. So going with the draft style again, which I think is awesome. Obviously, we're waiting to see how many people sign up to see how many teams. We're shooting for 8 teams, right? Is the goal?
Yeah, it's going to be 8-man teams, and however many people we get is going to determine how many teams there are. So with a minimum of 4 teams, which we've already exceeded that limit. So
well, that's good.
So there's nothing you're changing. Like, if you compare last year's tournament to this year's tournament, what would you say the biggest differences are, or the biggest connections are as far as the way that you're doing it, or the way that you plan on doing it, or the way that it's going to unfold?
the gameplay itself, the actual tournament in itself, is going to be almost exactly the same. I like the home and away for map changes or map selections or team sides.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest change is, like I said, with the captains and advertising.
Okay.
I made it an actual Steam group for the tournament.
I thought that was a great idea.
I'm sending invites. It's going to be public, trying to get as much people involved as possible. There are absolutely no requirements in order to play this in this tournament other than registering on the forums and posting to sign up.
Right.
And I think that'll get more users.
You're working with us as well, the media staff. You're working with the media staff to do some.
Exactly, with the media staff, I've got Fafa's working with some prizes. We're trying to get some DQ prizes. This is kind of under the hood stuff right now. We're working on trying to get all participants, some coupons of some sort or something. I'd like to do some trophies again. I really like the trophies from the 3v3 tournament we did in 2011.
Yeah.
Done.
The t-shirts.
Yeah, I was gonna say the t-shirts.
Yeah, I love
t-shirts.
The t-shirts were great. People wore them this QuickCon.
I wear my t-shirts. I wear that t-shirt pretty often, actually.
The t-shirts were great. I still have a few left
Definitely
over.
Great idea.
However, shipping them out was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It was great. I'd like to do tournament t-shirts for people to meet up at QuakeCon and distribute them again at QuakeCon. That was so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's so far after the fact.
Right, exactly. We're talking 6 months, 7 months down the road.
Yeah, it's
from the actual
it's
tournament.
It's almost not worth it doing it like that. But,
right. So
but it is so much easier.
Right. If it's something that I could fit in a simple envelope, it'd be no problem to ship out.
A certificate.
a certificate for for Dairy Queen or something. I don't know.
In the
Yes,
future, would it be
certificate of awesomeness? Because you played on our TPG tournament, you won. You're awesome.
would it be a good idea to have these draft tournaments around the same time as QuakeCon in the future, so it's easier? I mean, I don't want to move the whole schedule just because of the whole T-shirt
No,
thing.
right,
But
and we've talked about this before, and
yeah,
that's seems more ideal. And
especially
maybe since we have them so early in the year this year, that maybe we can have one a little bit later, maybe a different type of style or format,
yeah.
But do it.
or maybe actually host one at QuakeCon.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean,
Oh, hey,
but it would
I was-
depend on the amount of people.
Maybe like a
that
gun
would
game, something at
Oh,
at tournament at
Yeah,
QuakeCon, something that can be done in a day or a few hours.
because it'd be really hard to get those people there if they can't make it. Then what happens? So it's kind of one of those things that maybe you want to do it a week before QuakeCon instead of the day of,
Right.
because in case that happens. But I think it would be great. I mean, as far as getting it out, because if we did it at QuakeCon, more people I think would look at it and see it, and they would think it was kind of a QuakeCon thing, but it's not. And then they would see our name and they would connect, and more people would next year would be involved in the tournament. I think that would be great, for sure.
Definitely, there's which, it's still a ways out, and a lot of planning can be done.
Right, and we definitely have the capacity to do it.
I concur.
So we got a draft style. I'm gonna say this I don't know how many times. 5v5 coming up. Prizes, hopefully, some sort of participation awards for everyone. Hopefully, I know we plan media side to stream. We will be live streaming the draft live whenever we do that, and then we will also try and live stream every match with commentary. Probably you'll hear a lot of me and Rob.
And
That's
even
just
after
awesome.
the fact, I think we're even working on doing stats for after the. I think we're talking about updating those kind of stuff.
There's some other things that might be in the
plenty of
works.
stuff that we have.
Trying to
works.
have a lot of fun with this.
Definitely, yeah. The live draft was very fun last year, with the spreadsheet that everybody can watch live as the transactions happen.
Mm-hmm. And so it'll all be up on our everything will be streamed through our Twitch, the TPG Team Player Gaming Twitch.
It'll hopefully be on the homepage about a week before, just to announce it.
Yeah,
so,
working on getting on the homepage, working on the servers to be advertised on the servers, maybe the message of the day, or even just a scroll.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some sort of announcement to let you guys know, because I know a lot of people are interested in it, and if we get the word out, a lot more people will be interested in it.
Definitely.
Also, gonna go ahead and say, if you are interested in any media aspects of the tournament, I'm gonna actually go ahead and post up something in the media about if you're interested. You'll post there. You might get contacted by me.
Anything from commentary to even being a cameraman.
That's right. We need lots of stuff. Maybe you want to be like me and Rob and vamping it up from last year, getting some commentary work. Might even work into commentating at where'd you commentate, Rob?
Are you talking about PAX?
Yeah, that's right.
So
yeah,
I casted one of the I casted the they had in the public LAN area. They ended up hosting a Counter-Strike Go tournament. So they actually had several tournaments throughout the entire event. Some of them were at official sponsor booths. Some of them were much more formal and for competitive leagues. This tournament was really for just any of the attendees to come and compete at, form teams, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it wasn't like a league match or anything. It was really public. It was really, really last minute, to be honest with you, because I was talking to the guy in charge of that room, and he basically said they didn't have a setup for media or for shoutcasting or anything. They did last year, but they didn't do it this year because, they didn't have any. I don't know. For whatever reason, they didn't have it. They moved to a different room this year. So long story short, we made a makeshift station. I cast it as best I could, but hopefully it'll be better next year. And if you guys are interested, you can check it out. Well, I don't know how we're gonna do it, but you can maybe if you go to YouTube and you just click if you type in PAX Prime CSGO Tournament 2002, I think it'll pop up.
But so you never know. You could get your start casting with TPG and then move on. Have some fun experiences doing it elsewhere. But if anyone's interested in that, I'm gonna go ahead and after we finish up recording here, post something up in our media forum, on the forums and the media topic.
We need cameramen.
Yeah,
we need cameramen. We were last year we almost didn't have cameramen 3 times in a row. It was crazy.
That's right. I missed going out one night so I could cameraman for a match.
Oh, that's cute.
That's the dedication right there, baby. But so big. Hopefully, will be a big tournament coming up. 5v5 draft style. That's right. We should count. Drink. It'll be a drinking game. Everybody drink every time I say.
Everybody.
Style.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We'll have a live casting drinking game for sure.
Oh, hey, we might. You never know. We might throw that out there every time Rob says this versus this situation.
After you said that, I looked at that match and I was like, man, he's right. I do say it a lot, and so I try not to say it as much. And then
should say it just as much.
Yeah,
just say it just as
just to make it drinking. I mean, hey,
just to make a drinking game.
There's phrases I say. If you watch a lot of sports like I do, you can. I mean,
or just the podcast, you can just see
the John Madden of Counter-Strike commentary.
Yeah. If you want to win the match, you need to get the bomb planted.
You see, you want to kill the other team.
On the map, that chicken there, he's playing the game like.
And then Uncle Vern Chortle. That's right. So big tournament coming up. Everyone should get excited for it. I know I am. I know Dunn and actually before I finish talking about it.
Oh shit.
So are we going to? Is it going to be like in the past where each week has the 2 maps? I saw Affinity post something about voting on maps, and didn't actually get to ask you, Dunn.
I think he was just throwing that up there just to give people heads up of what map to prepare for.
Okay.
I hope so before you release that, because if he wasn't, then you just kind of.
No, like how we had the team predictions.
Oh, okay.
Threads up is just for hype. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he's trying to do. Just hype it up. What maps?
So my vote didn't mean shit.
Your vote never means anything, Dre.
Damn it!
This is America.
Is your name Dre?
I really want them to play Dust 1.
Is your name Dre?
It is.
Then your vote didn't really matter.
Anyway, get excited. Lots of Counter-Strike tournament to watch. Lots of media stuff to happen. Everybody should get excited.
And one thing before we conclude this is that this tournament is friendly to all players, even no matter what. If you just started the game, or if you haven't even installed it yet, this tournament's for you. You might not play as much as some of the other players, but if you get drafted on a team that wins a tournament, you're gonna get something.
Dude, Dre, that means you can play. Did you sign up yet?
Yes.
I think this is your one chance to be a winner.
I need to do it. I'm gonna sign on as the douchebag team, and I'm just gonna be the team that shit talks everyone and never brings anything to the table.
But yeah, so
it'll just be me as 5 guys. It'll be great.
So we got Counter-Strike Source coming up. Everybody get excited about that. We got new servers. Everybody should check out those games, and everybody should drink alcohol because I like to talk about it. Just kidding. If you don't, drink responsibly. Remember.
We're not forcing you into it. No peer pressure here. What are you drinking?
Have a plan.
Hey, I drink iced tea. It's delicious.
Yeah, Dunn's right. Have a plan.
It's good, man.
And the plan is not to drink and drive.
Amen.
Yeah, there you go.
Amen.
But it's alright to drink and podcast.
It's best when you drink and podcast.
That's the standard.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone, for another month of the Team Player podcast. I want to
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Dunn.
Thanks for having me,
Rob,
too.
for coming on, and Dre, as always.
I guess thanks for having me as well.
Yeah.
I feel like Andy Richter.
It's because you are. Anyway,
I am.
thanks, everybody. Have a great month, and check out our one-on-one coming up in February with someone. We'll see. We'll see who it is.
Me.
No,
it's
not
me.
yet. Not
I'm
yet.
not cool enough.
We'll do it one of these days. But
That's
check
great.
it out.
We'll do you one of these days too, and I'll be the host, and I'll have all the questions.
So check that out. Check out all our other podcasts. Look for lots of new articles coming out. We got lots of good stuff for everyone. So enjoy the next month and catch everyone in February.